Well, hi, Lori.
Hi, Courtney. How are you?
I'm great. It looks like you can hear me, which is just lovely. I mean, here we are. We're both on location. We're so fancy, right?
I love it.
I'm at the Bel Air Hotel because we're looking at events that you're going to be a big part of. You look fantastic. I am so overjoyed. I talk to you now on the regular, but to be able to bring you into our show and to share with our audience, to get to know you and to say what you're doing now, this is a blessing. So
thank you.
I'm going to forego that like normal introduction because we're going to get into all of this. But okay. Lori, so let's be that hard-hitting interview. So first of all, I just want everyone to know, I got to know you through Bob and Freda Johnson, who brought us to you. And you have been, I just remember reading your resume going, of course you had like Tuscany and Italy and UCLA in your background, which I latched onto, but you are a boss among bosses. Sweet. And you are doing such a great job. Let's go back a little bit. How did you even get into this industry? Tell me about that, please.
Well, I grew up in the business. My father was a producer, and we lived in Los Angeles, and I was around it all the time. And I love the people, and I love the business side of things. But I didn't really think that I was going to go into the business as a profession. It was just sort of like a family business and something that I was very familiar with and comfortable with, but I thought...
What did you think you were going to do?
Oh, I had lofty goals about, saving the planet and ending poverty and hunger and stuff like that, little
Sure.
things.
Sure. You had a low bar. You had a very low bar of expectations. I got it.
So instead of doing those things, I went to law school. And it really wasn't until I went to law school that I realized that the area of law that interested me the most was entertainment law.
Yeah.
One thing was I was really familiar with it. Another thing was it was mostly contract law, which I really loved. And so I was sort of toying around. I interned at the U.S. Attorney's Office. So I was thinking, do I do criminal law? Do I go that route, which is really interesting and exciting? Or do I do entertainment law, which is something I feel really comfortable with, and I kind of know the path there. And there's more money in it.
Right. It might not be as interesting because you say it's more contract law. Most people think, entertainment law is so glamorous. It's actually not.
No, it's just basically contract law and making deals. And, I had wonderful clients. In fact, I ran into one on the campus, Larry Terman. So, I represented a lot of producers and things like that. And then I started thinking, wait a second, I'm doing all the work that they could do, but don't want to do. I think I want to be doing what they're doing. So after practicing law for a few years, I thought, well, I really would rather be on the creative side of the business as opposed to the business side of the business. And I have to say that in the movie business, it's definitely sort of one or the other,
Yeah. Well, okay, but you weren't just on the creative side. I mean, you ran companies, you created businesses under a humongous umbrella. I mean, Warner Brothers especially. Like, tell me. I mean, you've done big things, and as a female too.
That was later on. Once I left practicing entertainment law, I went to work for Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, Don had been president of Paramount. And he and Jerry were just forming a partnership to produce movies at Paramount. The first movie was Flashdance. And Jerry was a wonderful guy, and he was focused on physical line production. So he was out producing the movies, and Don was more on the creative development side. So it was really quite an experience working for them. It gave.
Can I ask you a flash dance question?
Oh, sure.
Did you have anything to do with that really fun scene, or have you ever recreated like water flowing on you? Has that ever happened?
I was there the day they shot it, and it's one of those things where things look
that's so
cooler.
fun.
They look so much cooler in the movie than they do. This poor girl had to get. It was a body double for Jennifer Beals, and she had to get, wet over and over and over again. So those things are never as exciting or
movie magic is never as glamorous. I know.
Yeah. So working with Don Simpson was interesting. He passed away a long time ago. He had a lot of demons, but he was also a very, very creative guy. And what he taught me was about story and what worked and what didn't and why. I'd been an English major and I read a lot, but to understand, how a script works and the beats, and I don't think there's anybody that was any better at it than Don Simpson. So after that, I was working for Simpson and Bruckheimer, but honestly, Simpson was not in the best of shape. And I went to work for Peter Guber and John Peters, who had just started their company. So it was the Guber Peters Entertainment Company at Warner Brothers. And that was a phenomenal experience because it was really just basically the three of us and some support staff. And I worked mostly with Peter Guber, and he is the most dynamic, brilliant guy. And what Peter was so good at, and what he taught me about, was how to get a movie. Because you can develop and develop and develop, but the process of turning a development deal into a go picture is a talent unto itself. I'm not sure I ever got it, but Guber was master at it. And it was a phenomenal experience for me because I was quite young. I was in my 20s and I was supervising about 7 pictures because we had so many things going. I didn't always know what I was doing, but you kind of learn on the job. It's sort of like being thrown in the deep end. And it was a really wonderful, wonderful time. Well, at Simpson Bruckheimer, I developed Beverly Hills Cop and Top Gun. And then at Guber Peters.
These are iconic. You've been a part of iconic projects, Lori. I mean, you are. No.
Iconic means really
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not at all. Please continue.
Stick around long enough that there's plenty of those. So I developed Color Purple, which is of Eastwick, and had the opportunity to work with like the most talented, most amazing people. And I just couldn't believe that I was actually getting paid to do that job. It's like, oh my God, I get to watch movies. I get to meet amazing people, some of the brightest minds. And through Peter, I just got a chance to meet everybody. So that was a fantastic experience and a real seminal one for me.
And then how do you move on to, again, I know that I've talked to you and we've met recently. And again, I'm in awe of everything that you've done. And we're going to talk about what you're doing for us now, which is another chapter of life for you that is
exciting.
Beautiful. Great. I'm so glad it's exciting for you because for us it is unbelievable. And we couldn't be happier. But you've created labels, like Warner Vision. I mean, tell us about, there's too much, but how did you get into,
into that after that? Well, I probably have to tell you. I was a studio executive at, I was an executive at MGM and then at Lorimar. And when I was at Lorimar, I was working.
Not named after you, by the way.
No, not named after me, having nothing to do.
Right.
Just a coincidence. But it's funny because sometimes the movies that are the very best experiences while you're making them are the absolute worst movies. And there can be an inverse relationship. Sometimes the worst experiences are amazing movies. And that just seems to happen. So I was working on what turned out to be a terrible movie called Hearts of Fire, starring Bob Dylan, my idol. And all I can say about that is never meet your idols.
Yeah.
It's always disappointing.
It's like never watch the music video. Don't ruin the idea of what you might think. Sure.
What's in your head. But anyway, so Doug Morris, who was chairman of Atlantic Records at that time, was a producer on that movie. And because he had all the music connection, it was a music movie. So I really like Doug Morris. He's just an amazing guy. I mean, he's been, you want to talk about iconic. I mean, he's been the chairman of every major record group, from Atlantic, Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony, CEO of every company, and every company he just takes to the limit. Well, I want to talk more about him, but at any rate, so I was working with him on this bad movie, and he said, "Look, you know, I have really wanted to start a company, a video company, and a company that where we can sell videos." This was early on. He said, "Would you come in and do this for me?" And he introduced me to this guy, Stuart Hirsch, who was a fantastic business guy. He was a great marketing money guy. Sure. And a real go-getter. So he put the two of us together, and I did the creative and the production and all of that. And Stuart did the marketing and dealt with the sales force and the financial. So it was a really good partnership. And that was because of Doug's insight. So we built it into this really big company, but kind of we had to poke around a little bit, because at the beginning we were just going to do like concert videos and music related videos. So I produced a lot of concert movies, and I produced about 20 what we called rockumentaries at the time, that were documentaries about music, and they'd be on MTV and that sort of thing.
Which sounds really fun. Maybe a lot of hard work, but really fun.
Well, it was a blast. It was
so much fun. However, what was your favorite one? Okay. However.
The however was there wasn't enough money in it, which, you know, at a company, it's not about the fun or how cool it is. It's about the money. Yeah. So then I said, well, you know, I just got us into things that I was really into. So I had always been into fitness, and Jane Fonda was a friend of mine. So we signed Jane Fonda, we signed Kathy Smith, we signed Susan Powder. I don't know if you remember her, but
yes, I do.
Insanity. Oh my God. So
short hair, right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Oh my gosh, loved her.
We made more money off Susan Powder than we did, you know, off of In Excess or Jen.
Could you imagine, by the way, like a Susan Powder and all these people with Instagram nowadays on how fitness, especially over the pandemic, I mean, can you just imagine that trajectory of what that would have been?
Absolutely. You're right. I mean, this was at the beginning of the video business. I mean, Jane had put out a few videos with Lorimar, and I made 2 movies with her at Lorimar. And, you know, I got Kathy Smith involved, and she's one of my dearest friends. She's great.
Amazing.
We started doing yoga and that kind of thing. So there was a big business in exercise videos, because we discovered people will watch them over and over again. Yeah. Then all of a sudden I had little kids, and I'm like, oh my God, they watch videos all the time. So we got really big into children's videos. So what I did is, and you know what, this is all because of Doug Morris. Doug Morris is the most amazing boss I think a person could ever have, because he's such a good, kind, supportive person. But it's all about the bottom line. So as long as you deliver that bottom line, and as long as you're making money and you're doing well for the company, he leaves you alone and just as supportive and there. And so we had this tremendous relationship where he let me do what I like to do best, which was start up companies. I discovered that starting up new projects was so much fun. So we had a vision, and then I started a new company, which was Kid Vision. So that was kids videos, kids music, kids TV show, and did
Was that prompted, Lori, around you having kids? Like, was that really related to where you were in your life? I would imagine.
I was so busy listening to Barney and Daffy and all this stuff. It's like, oh my dear God, I got to make money at this somehow. So
they were all making money. I mean, the Raffi and Barneys of the world, they were doing quite well.
Very well, thank you.
Quite an audience.
Yeah, and so I produced. There goes a fire truck in the hole. There goes a police car. There goes all these. We made them for 5 cents and sell a gazillion. And then I had like Power Rangers and Troopers. I can't remember all those things. And DC and the Babysitters Club and
I still have every single hard copy of the Babysitters Club. And I know they've done a reversion. You are speaking to my childhood.
Audience with these things, and Magic School Bus, same way.
Yes.
So I discovered where the business was, and it was in these franchises, and it was in this business with kids and fitness and that sort of thing. So I started the kids, and then based on my love of reading and literature, it just evolved. It was at that time, Time Warner owned, or Time had just bought Warner's. So there was all this talk about synergy. And in fact, nobody was synergizing. It was just a big corporate, there's going to be great synergy.
Buzzword.
Buzzword. And nobody knew each other. The head of the music company didn't know the head of the TV company, didn't know the head of the book company. And I thought, wait a second, why don't we create a joint venture with the book company and the record company? So we created this company called Time Warner Audiobooks, because I loved books and I love audiobooks. And
so this is Audible and all these.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is like 1993 or something.
Groundbreaking at the time, truly.
Well, it was. I mean, books on tape were not a big deal. In fact, I remember doing these spots and things to try to educate people about how they would listen to an audio tape, because it wasn't part of our culture yet.
Right.
So that was really fun. And just so I started different companies. And the main thing of it was that I was so fortunate because I got to have, in some ways, the best of all worlds, because I had the safety net of having a big corporation behind me. Right. I guess I didn't really have the guts to be truly entrepreneurial because I had kids and I had a big overhead, and I thought, I don't know. So I got to be entrepreneurial within the comfort of the corporate family. And it really was a family, I have to say. So that was fantastic.
I mean, what a blessing, though. I mean, I want to ask you a quick little silly side question. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I was listening to one talking about, let me ask you, do you think, totally off topic here, reading a book and listening to a book, do you judge those people who just maybe listen as opposed to reading? Like, what do you think?
It's really interesting because when I first started my audiobook company, this is what so many people would say. They go, oh, I like to read. And I go, well, it's not mutually exclusive.
I agree.
Listen and read. And I don't know, if this is like what you do, but what I do is I love to read, but there are times when I'm in my car or sometimes
you can't.
I like to, sometimes I like to kind of fall asleep listening to a story or something, a podcast or a story. So I think what we're all finding is now that we have all the entertainment available to us, everything all the time, every movie you want, every TV you want, every recording you want, you realize that there are certain things you enjoy doing at certain times and certain things you enjoy doing at other times. So I just see it as a different platform. And I know that for myself, I tend to listen to different kinds of books than I read. I'll read a book that's more in depth, and I'll listen to a book that's light and easy. I don't have to concentrate too much. So, you kind of find that balance. But at that time, it's a good question because at that time, people said, oh, no, I read. I don't want to listen. And
there was the harder line between, oh, I'm a reader, but listening to a book. But you're right. I mean, look, if we're it's all your selection of content.
Yes.
It's like, if we have the time wherever we are, what is our content? And it's how you choose I'm grateful for, like you said, with kids and how you pivot on your job, which I think is so amazing. And we were talking about how, and I want to ask you about this, being a mom who runs business. So I get that you said, oh, I wasn't entrepreneurial in this fact that maybe I didn't hang my own shingle by myself. You were absolutely entrepreneurial within, yes, maybe within comfort. Sure, within a comfort of a label, of a established company. But, and I know we're talking about reading and listening, but also let's go back to the mom. I mean, you've inspired me so much. I mean, you were like, when you told me when a BlackBerry was a thing, when we could have, this thing be next to us, you were able to say, guess what? My kids mean a lot and I can do my business wherever. And that's some of the thing we talk about all the time. The pandemic has showed us that. I mean, tell me about how, I bet you this pandemic has kind of triggered those memories of how you could have done that.
Totally. I think that's so true. And I think that technology, we forget how much it has freed us because, for me, before I had to be at the office and I had to be there and I couldn't miss a call, and
freed us and trapped us at the same time. But we're talking about the freedom right now, right?
Oh, yeah. We're on the freedom part of the course.
Yeah, we're on the freedom part. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was wonderfully freeing for me because it wasn't an either or. It wasn't, can I go pick up my kids at school or do I do this meeting? I could do both. And I taught my kids to be really good. When I held up my hand, that meant in the car, zip it.
Did you find that your children were really great until the minute you became busy? And then that's when they wanted to come talk to you? Like the minute that phone that meeting, right? Is that how I feel like dogs are the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Kids and dogs. The minute you're busy. I know your dogs are around here somewhere. Where's Stanley? Where are they?
Stanley, they have a friend visiting, so they're outside.
Oh, they're on a play date. Oh, cute.
I have to tell you something funny about kids and jobs. So, I have some friends who are like big in music or acting or something. Their kids never think they're important. They don't think that they're a big deal. And for sure, my kids didn't think I was a big deal. So at my youngest son, they had the day where the parents, come in and a different parent would come in and talk about the job that they did. And at that time, I was working for Doug Morris at Universal. And the kids would come quite a bit. The nanny would bring them over after school and I'd take them up to Universal and go on some rides and everything. So I get to the school and Charlie says, Mom, come here. I got to talk to you. I go, yeah, what is it, honey? He said, you've got to tell them that what you do is help the kids get on the rides at Universal. I said, honey, what do you mean? He had told his friends, he had bragged that I worked at Universal theme park and let the kids on the ride. So that was really cool.
That is way cooler, right? Like, I love that, like, your actual job was far greater, but that's really cool.
Yeah. So that was the only time I really got to impress him is when I lied about what I did.
Well, if you can get us all on rides, we would think you were the coolest. So, Lori, I want to pivot here to you, to me, obviously, personally, professionally, and to MPTF have been such a blessing. It brings tears to my eyes because I've seen this impressive career. You were married to an actor in the industry,
Miguel Ferrer,
who passed way before his time, and you dealt with a lot there, which crosses over into our mission of MPTF of taking care of our own. You took care of him, you took care of your mom, and not to bring up these memories, but
no, it's life.
But it's life. And well, actually, let me just stop. Can you tell us a little bit about Miguel's career? Because I want to get to you, but I think we should talk about, Miguel and his family and what he did. And he was wonderful. And by the way, he was a doppelganger for his father.
I know. And
oh my gosh,
is a doppelganger too. So
oh really? I haven't seen it. Well, the genes are very strong on that side. Clearly.
So, well, Miguel, his mother was Rosemary Clooney. His father was Jose Ferrer. So he very much grew up in the world of Broadway and music and movies and all of that. And I think it gave him a very different kind of perspective than a lot of actors. Miguel never seemed, I'd never gone out with an actor before. Not really, I mean, maybe, yeah. Not seriously, because
that's another show. Yeah,
that's another show.
Yeah,
but he didn't act like an actor. He took his profession so seriously. I don't care if it was a stupid little part or a stupid little scene. He gave it his all, and he always wanted to show up and be his best. And he had such an incredible work ethic, and so loved what he did, and so loved the people that he did it with, that right on through he had throat cancer, and he was very sick for a couple of years. And he worked till a couple of weeks before he passed away. He loved his work so much. And also the people that he worked for at CBS were incredibly accommodating. And they wrote into the script, his character, Owen Granger on NCIS LA, they wrote in that he passed away. And it was,
Oh, they did.
Yes, so that was less.
How was that for you to watch?
It was, I never watched it. I never watched it. But it was, you know what? It's only now that I can watch Miguel in something. It's been 4 years. And to tell you the truth, whenever he would come on in a movie or TV or something, I would just have to change the channel. It was still a little raw. But, there was such a love of the industry and such a sense of the history of the business and all of that. And then he has extended family that's, George Clooney's an actor, his niece Tessa is an actor, his sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, Debbie Boone. So there's a lot of entertainment people in our family, and it's a family business. What can I say? Yeah.
Well, and, the extension of this family business, and I apologize if I have background, this is like what it means to be on location, I guess. I don't know what that is like, but honestly, Lori, you came to us, and I would love to know just to tell everyone like how you came to know about MPTF, whether it was recently or if you kind of like knew about our mission, but to tell everybody that you are literally the shining example of you grew up and cut your teeth in this industry. You did amazing things. Your family extends beyond. And you have said to me many times that you are now finding your purpose with us. And we could not be, I still like pinch myself going, when do I lose Lori to something better?
You're stuck with me, Courtney.
Oh my gosh, girl, you are my everything. But you are the exact example of like, talk about our 100th. And let me just shamelessly kind of promote this, because we're talking about everybody playing their part, and you can donate, you can advocate and volunteer. Right. You do all of that, and you have chosen to find your purpose in a way that helps us with our 100th anniversary auction, and to call on your friends to give them things. And I sit in my office where not only do you energize myself and our staff, but you call on people and you are action-based, and it's clearly why you have been so successful. But talk to us. I mean, why? Why?
It's been a really interesting journey. So I have to go back a little bit and go to after my husband passed away. and this all sounds horribly sad, but, my mother was 90. So, the last few years of her life, it's very relevant because I got, really involved with her. She was, living with me. I was taking her to doctors. And then finally she had to go into assisted living because she needed a lot more help. So it was in that process, I started spending a lot of time at the assisted living place that she was at. And I got to know a lot of the, especially ladies, because she had a whole crew of women. And I thought, this is so great because it's given my mother a whole sense. It's like she hadn't had girlfriends in a long time. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, she had this group of girlfriends. They talked about everything. They were so interesting. And I thought, this is really wonderful. So I really started thinking about it. I started looking at the assisted living place that she was at. And I thought, they charge a huge amount of money, and it really could be so much better in terms of community and interaction and everything. So I'm just really thinking about that. And then I was asked to go on the board of UCLA Geriatrics. And so in doing that, I started learning just amazing. You're a Bruin. They're amazing doctors at UCLA. I that organization.
Don't tell Bob this. I know Bob's listening. I bring up UCLA all the time.
Yeah.
They're a partner of ours, but they are a phenomenal organization.
Just phenomenal.
Just phenomenal.
People and
especially on the health side, of course.
Yes. And especially. And so I got really into what was happening in, with longevity and resilience and all these issues having to do with aging. That so much has to do with other than the physical, as we know. And also, as we know, how important community and involvement and interaction is. Because I saw with my mother again, it was my chance to be up close and personal, that before she went in, she was living alone. She was by herself. She would only see the people who came in and worked for her and me. And so I just love that sense of community, but I hadn't seen a model of it being done the way I thought. Well, the funny thing is for years I lived in Hidden Hills near the campus, and I would drive by and I would always hear great things about it. And just great things. And then some people that I knew started going there. I think the first person I visited probably was Bud York. And so I started visiting people there, and I thought, this is it. This is really it. This is so great. Put it in my brain, and then I guess it was during the pandemic. I think it caused all of us to start reflecting, and not you because you have kids. When you have kids, you don't have time for reflection.
True. Yes.
You can't reflect till later.
Right.
And my kids were grown, and my career, the way I felt about my career was I could do more, I could do better, I could make more money, but what difference will it really make in my life and in my consciousness in a way? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like I've gotten so many lessons from that. Now I want other kinds of experiences. And so I know that for me, and probably for a lot of people, one thing that makes you happy is to have a sense of purpose. And you very much have that when you have children. Then your children leave. What is your purpose? You have it when you have your career. When you stop your career, what is your purpose? Mm-hmm. And we all, I think, really need a sense of purpose. And for me, and I think other people also, it's being involved with other people. It's doing something to help maybe other people. Those are the things that selfishly make me feel good. So I was looking for like the big idea, the big thing I could really throw myself into. And I was having lunch with Sherry Lansing, who is a dear friend and mentor, and I just idolize her. And I'm so
we all do, yes, from the Bruin family to the MPTF family to everyone else. Yeah, absolutely.
And a very, very dear friend who's been there for me in every way. And I said, what should I do? She goes, what about the motion picture home? I said, you're absolutely right. It's like, duh, that's so perfect. And then Doug Collins, who worked for her, said, that's the thing you should do. So I got in touch with you guys, and it was just instant. The minute I met Freda and I met you, Courtney, and I met Bob, I just thought, oh my God, I love these people so much. And when you have that feeling, and it was not only that I loved you all as individuals, but that everybody is so committed to this mission and such a sense of purpose. Oh, and I can't believe I didn't mention Hawk Koch, because Hawk is the one.
How can you not mention Hawk? I get it. I know.
Hawk is he's everywhere. I mean, and he has been really supportive and really wonderful. So it's this group of people that I really love. And I think the thing that just sold me and said, okay, I'm in, is when I was walking around with Bob and Freda, and we're walking around the grounds, and just to see how beautifully Bob interacted with all the residents, and what a sense of family and community there really was. It wasn't just the talk of it. It was just the real thing that I could sense. And look, we're all going to be old someday or dead, but hopefully we'll be old. And
hopefully old before dead. But yeah, that's natural. Yeah.
It's you have to start thinking about these things, and also you have to start thinking about caring for this incredible generation and all these people, because I think in American society, a lot of times we don't really take care of our own. We don't take care of our families. And certainly this organization does an amazing job of taking care of their own. And this is an incredible example of that. So I just couldn't be prouder to be, than to be, volunteering with this organization, working with you guys. I mean, it's sort of like I feel if the years of working and all of that can come to some sort of positive outcome or positive experience or raising money, I'm so grateful that I can be part of it.
Well, and I know Jen just came back on. I told you this was going to fly by. Lori, you and I could talk for 2 more hours easily. There's still more things to get to. And
that though.
No. And we have so much more to talk about. But I just want to say on behalf of everybody, because thank you for this circular effort of your career coming back to support people that mean a lot to you. You've taken life experience. I've watched you work. I can imagine what you must have been like when you were running a company, but I see the same energy and the kindness and the passion that you are putting towards MPTF to really help us to take care of our own. And you get it. There's certain people like Hawk, you just absolutely get it. And we are so grateful. And we cannot wait to celebrate you, because we know, I've already seen it. You guys, I mean, Lori has secured for us.
I'm turning bright. I'm turning all red.
No, yes. I mean, this is like the Rod Tidwell of, the movie. Like, I want to make you cry. I'm just kidding. I don't want to make you cry, because I don't want to cry. But Lori, you have secured for us items. You have made outreach. You have brought to us people. You have reinvigorated people to our mission. We need more of you. You are the example. It's why you're here today, to not only talk about your incredible career, what you're doing for us now, but you show people that there are so many parts to play in this family.
Oh,
and
God.
Just like Jen has done, like to reinvigorate the residents with the MPTF Studios team when they couldn't be with each other. And now we're slowly getting there.
But listen, I mean, there just aren't many organizations that are like this, that are such a family. And I think, the fact that it's the 100th anniversary is really incredible. I mean,
Yes.
how many companies, how many charities, how many organizations have not only lasted, but thrived and evolved? And if anybody is watching, probably not, but anybody who's watching who has not been to the campus, You must go because it is such an incredible experience, and it's something that you can't really put into words. You really have to experience
I know you hear like forks and stuff in the background, but Lori, our whole group will be listening to this. So everyone who has, a tie to the Motion Picture and Television Fund, they all should come. It is iconic. And you're so right, because we are more than this campus, but the heart and soul of us is this campus. And you just say that beautifully.
Well, the thing is too, that it doesn't take much to, if somebody's lonely, if they're isolated, the way so many people have been through this period, but certainly seniors more so, just to bring joy into anybody's life. It makes you feel so good. And anyway, that's sort of what I'm going.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, ... on this, the most incredible interview. You are an absolute angel. And I know Jen's on here because I told you how quickly this would go, but I didn't prepare you for this. I apologize in advance because just take a breath. There's some hard questions coming.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So, two major questions, and then I've got a personal one that I'm going to throw in before the two like heavy hitters.
Oh, do it.
I don't know that you know that Merv Adelson was out here with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got involved with MPTF Studios almost right away and became someone very near and dear to my heart. So anytime I hear someone talk about Lorimar, I'm like, oh, you're so lucky you got to work with Merv. And I know.
Yeah. What did she say?
I was about to say, I know that was probably a different experience than the experience that I had with him.
He was fantastic. He and Lee were incredible. They were both, Lee Rich and Merv Adelson were the partners at Lorimar. And they were both great. They were Merv was such a cool guy. He really was. And he knew everybody. And he just had a way about him that was great. And I feel so privileged to have been able to, work with him and get to know him. He was really, really a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I think to have, it makes me, I'm so glad he had MPTF as a home at the end.
And
really
he had a girlfriend at the end.
Oh, I know. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you knew? Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you knew about Judy. Okay, so the two major questions. What is your favorite movie and what is your favorite television series?
Oh, my God, like of all times?
Of all time.
Oh, my God.
I told you, this is why we don't prepare. And go ahead. Think about it. Let it marinate. They could be presently. What are you watching now? What are you watching before? Go ahead.
Top of brain is, I watch, through the pandemic, I have watched a lot of TV, shall we say, more than I probably ever have if you put it end to end in my entire life. So I have watched many, many series, and I love many of them. I'd have to say Peaky Blinders is my favorite TV show, just because I just loved it.
I think Bob is a huge fan of that. Bob always gives the really cool, more international. Yes, Peaky Blinders is
it's
fantastic.
Yeah, that's sort of an epic movie. It has, sex and drugs and power and money and love and it's just got all the.
Jen, that sounds like our campus.
It does. Yep. There are many, many drugs here on the campus.
Yeah. Know what I mean.
Okay, so we hear them. Favorite movie?
And then movies, it's boring. It's so boring. Casablanca. Casablanca.
Yay!
How can you go wrong? It's
never boring.
Every single time I cry when they all stand up and sing the French anthem. I just sob. I don't know. There's something about that is about the values, what really matters in life, and what it is that makes you a good man or a good woman or a good person. And life is complex, and finding your way through that is sometimes not easy to navigate. And I think Casablanca is about that for me.
Indeed. That's perfect. I'm going to step away and let you guys close it out. But Lori, my gratitude to you for being part of the MPTF
You
family.
too, Jen. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
thank you.
You both, people know Jennifer Clymer's name. They're going to know the Lori Weintraub name around campus because of so many reasons, both of you. Again, our gratitude. And I would say to anybody, like, look at your example. We need all the help we can get. We need all the support.
Yes.
We are doing an auction. And part of this is like, we haven't even really mentioned like what this is, but we're doing an auction, right, Lori, at the end of the year with Christie's.
Yes.
Looking for incredible Hollywood. I mean, tell us a little bit about that. You do it.
I mean, well, Courtney's so great at all of this, but basically, we're looking for it's got a Hollywood theme to it, obviously. So we're looking for iconic Hollywood items, things that were in movies, things that we all remember, things that were significant in a movie or an actor's life or something like that. It's kind of hard to describe, but we know it when we see it. And what's so great, and this is really what's so great about working with this organization. First of all, everybody in the business knows about it. Everybody loves it. It has such integrity, and so without exception, every single person I've called is like, yes, what can I do? It's never like, oh, sorry, no.
I heard it. First of all, they're like, Lori, I love you. Thank you for calling. But also, yes, of course. I mean,
yeah, people are just so, and that just shows that this organization has been run so beautifully with such integrity and compassion for such a long time that it has that reputation. So it's easy. It is really easy. And everybody wants to participate in some way. So I think our challenge is going to be finding out different ways that different people that we connect with in this process want to be able to participate. And so the auction is a really great way. So if you've got any really cool items stashed away somewhere, we'd love to have them.
And even if they're not, Christie's auction worthy, we've got tons of ways to raise money and to adorn the incredible halls of a newly rebuilt campus as part of our campaign. And I think, again, you're just the shining example of there are many ways to still get involved. And whether it's volunteering with grocery delivery or with our auction or 100th or making a donation, you do all of them, but there are so many avenues.
Everybody is so, welcoming. So, all you got to do is just come down to the campus and say, what can I do? Talk to people, because there's so much receptivity. People are so, welcoming and happy to have you. And I just think it's a great thing for anybody to be involved in any way they can. I know that it warms my heart.
We're so grateful. I love you dearly. I'm probably going to call you 5 minutes after this interview, and we have lots of stuff to chat about, but thank you for your time. Say hi to your cute little dogs in the back that we didn't see, and all of our residents, all the MPTF family. Like, we are so happy to have you, and we're not letting go of you.
I hope not. Thanks.
Never. All right. Bye, Lori.